When it comes to wedding dress shopping, the process is typically one that is both enjoyable and exciting for the bride-to-be and her bridal party. When a bride brought her fiancé along with her to the dress buying experience, it turned out to be a bit of a disappointing experience for her. Say Yes to the Dress is featured on the show. Meg Liz Miller, the bride from Atlanta, accompanied her fiancé Jack Owick along with her and the other members of her bridal party when she went to try on wedding dresses. It turned out that Jack Owick had a strong opinion on the matter. Immediately as the bridal consultant begins presenting Meg Liz with a selection of dresses, Jack is keen to provide his opinions on the matter. Monty, who is a fashion director and co-host on the show, made a hilarious remark when he said, "Last time I checked, this store wasn't named Bridals by Jack." He was referring to some of the dresses that he described as being completely ugly. Ms. Meg, the outspoken fiancé of Liz, also denied her desire to look at dresses in the form of mermaids, so instead she tried on a variety of alternative styles. While trying on the first of the dresses that were chosen, the future bride exclaimed, "I am in love with this dress, however, I am concerned about what Jack will think of it." She went on to say, "Turns out that it was not the dress of his dreams, and he asked himself, is this a resounding yes to the dress or a resounding yes to the breast?" It was his opinion that the dress displayed an excessive amount of cleavage, and he continued by saying, "Yeah, we need to pull that top up." While addressing the camera, he continued by saying, "This dress is tacky and unacceptable because it is cut from the waist down." A rating of 8.5 out of 10 was given to the second outfit by Meg Liz, who stated that it made her feel magnificent. Jack, on the other hand, responded to the question of his ranking by saying, "On a scale of 1 to 10, it owes points." According to Lori Allen, one of the hosts of the show, Meg Liz will be walking out of here with nothing but her fiancé if she continues to let this fiancé change her mind. A few words of encouragement are then offered by Lori to the happy pair. "You've got to stand up for yourself and figure out what you want," she recommends to Meg. "You are going to be the one gazing at these images 20 years from now, Liz, when you look back at them." It is because of this that Meg Liz is persuaded to return to the original style that she desired and to begin trying on gowns in the mermaid style. Nevertheless, in the end, he is the one who ends up eating his words. Ms. Meg, the third dress, is chosen by Liz, and after the wedding, Jack acknowledges that she picked the right dress, adding that it is stunning, elegant, and that she rocked it. Wedding days are often filled with fairy tale moments. The perfect venue, the dreamy first look, the sweeping dress, and, of course, the happy ending. But for me, the beginning of my bridal journey wasn't as magical as I had hoped. It all started with my dream dress, a breathtaking gown that made me feel like a queen. Unfortunately, the dream quickly turned into a nightmare the moment I shared it with my soon-to-be husband. Let me take you back to the beginning of this journey, and the day I first laid eyes on the dress. Finding the one, I had been dreaming of this day for years, imagining walking down the aisle in a gown that would take everyone's breath away, especially my groom, Max. I'd always been a fan of bold fashion choices, and while I didn't want to go too far over the top, I knew that my wedding dress had to reflect who I was: confident, stylish, and a little bit daring. The search started innocently enough. I scrolled through Pinterest, saving pins of wedding dresses I thought might work for me. From the sleek satin mermaids to the extravagant ball gowns, I was considering everything. My vision was clear in my mind. I wanted something that was a perfect blend of timeless elegance and modern flair. I imagined a dress that would hug my curves in all the right places, but still maintain an air of sophistication. One afternoon, my best friend Rachel and I decided to hit a bridal boutique in the city. It was one of those elegant, high-end stores with chandeliers hanging from the ceiling and soft music playing in the background. I was feeling hopeful as I walked in, and the assistant greeted me with a warm smile, offering to help me find something special. I was ready to start trying on dresses, but honestly, I wasn't prepared for how emotional the experience would be. I tried on dozens of dresses, but none of them seemed right. Some were too big, some too small, some too simple. My eyes began to glaze over as I felt frustration creeping in. Was I ever going to find my perfect dress? Rachel could see my discouragement, so she suggested I try a dress she had seen on display at the front of the store. It was stunning, a combination of silk and lace with intricate beadwork that sparkled in the light. The plunging neckline, the dramatic train, and the way the fabric flowed, it looked like something straight out of a movie. When I stepped into the dress and looked in the mirror, I was speechless. I could feel the tears welling up in my eyes. This was it. This was the dress that would make me feel like a bride, like I was stepping into a new chapter of my life. I knew I couldn't leave without it. Rachel's reaction only confirmed what I already knew. She gasped, her eyes wide with admiration. "You look incredible," she said, clasping her hands together. "This is it, I can tell. Max is going to lose it when he sees you." I was giddy with excitement as I pulled off the dress and quickly told the consultant I wanted to buy it. It felt like the weight of the world had been lifted off my shoulders. My dress had been found, and now all I had to do was wait for the big day. The big reveal. The day I was set to show Max the dress was fast approaching. We had always been the type of couple that enjoyed surprises, and we had made an agreement early on that he would not see my dress until the wedding day. However, I couldn't resist showing him a sneak peek. After all, I wanted to make sure he liked it. Our relationship had always been about honesty and openness, so I figured a little preview couldn't hurt. It was a Saturday evening, and Max and I were having dinner at home. I had just come from a bridal fitting, so I was wearing my dress's undergarments to get the feel of it. Max was sitting on the couch, scrolling through his phone when I walked into the living room wearing a white robe. I asked him to close his eyes, and as I slipped the robe off, I could already feel the excitement building. "Okay, you can open them now," I said, standing tall in front of him, the dress hugging my body perfectly. Max's eyes flicked up from his phone to me, and his expression quickly shifted from casual to uncertain. "You look great, babe," he said, his tone more flat than I had expected. I beamed, waiting for the praise to follow, but the words didn't come. Instead, Max cleared his throat and looked me up and down, his eyes lingering in a way that made me feel more self-conscious than I ever had before. "I don't know, it just feels a little much," he said, his voice strained. My smile faltered. "What do you mean, much?" "It's my dress, Max." He shifted in his seat, clearly uncomfortable. "I don't know, it's just a little tacky," he muttered. "The neckline is really low. It's like showing way too much boob, and the whole thing just feels classless. It's not very, elegant." I felt like the ground had been ripped out from beneath me. "Tacky? Classless?" I repeated, my heart pounding in my chest. "This is my dream dress, Max. This is the dress I've been thinking about for months." He looked up at me, his eyes softening. "I'm not saying you don't look amazing, but I just think maybe it's not the best choice." The words stung. I had never felt so betrayed in my life. How could he say that? How could the man who had been planning to marry me criticize my wedding dress like that? I tried to keep my emotions in check, but my voice trembled as I asked, "Do you not like it?" Max's expression grew serious. "It's not that I don't like it. It's just that I don't know if it's right for a wedding. Maybe something a little more modest, Modest? I repeated, disbelief filling my voice. "It's my wedding, Max. I should wear whatever I feel amazing in. And I do feel amazing in it. If you can't support me on this, then maybe we need to talk." Max's face softened, but the damage was done. I excused myself from the room, my heart aching, my mind racing. This wasn't supposed to be how it went. I had spent months imagining how he would react, how he would tell me I was the most beautiful woman in the world. Instead, I was left feeling like my dream was being crushed. The aftermath, the days after the dress reveal, were a blur. Max and I had several conversations about the dress, each one more awkward than the last. He tried to apologize, but the words didn't ease the hurt I felt. To him, the dress was too much. To me, it was everything. I found myself doubting my choice. Was he right? Had I overestimated my own sense of style? Should I have chosen something more conservative? Would he be embarrassed to see me walking down the aisle in a dress that showed a little skin? The pressure was mounting. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I even made a few calls to the bridal boutique, asking if I could exchange the dress for something more modest. But every time I tried on another dress, it just didn't feel right. None of them had the magic that the original gown did. The more I tried to force myself into something that wasn't me, the more miserable I became. Rachel, ever the voice of reason, stepped in. She told me to stop second-guessing myself. It's your wedding, girl. You deserve to feel like the most beautiful woman in the world. If that means showing a little cleavage, then so be it. If Max really loves you, he'll support your decision. It was exactly what I needed to hear. Rachel was right. This wasn't about Max or anyone else. It was about me and how I felt in my own skin. I had chosen the dress because it made me feel powerful and beautiful. I wasn't about to let anyone take that away from me. So I called the boutique again, and this time I made my decision. I wasn't exchanging the dress. I wasn't backing down. Max and I had a serious heart-to-heart that evening. He apologized again for his insensitive comments, and I told him that while I respected his opinion, this was something I needed to do for myself. Our conversation wasn't easy, but it was necessary. I reminded him that the wedding was a celebration of our love, not his preferences for how I should look. The wedding day. The day of the wedding arrived, and there was no turning back. As I stepped into my dress for the final time, I looked at myself in the mirror. The dress was everything I had hoped for and more. It was bold, it was beautiful, and most importantly, it was me. When I walked down the aisle, I could see the surprise in Max's eyes. But there was no hint of judgment anymore. Instead, there was only admiration and awe. He whispered, "You look incredible," as I approached him, and I could see the emotion in his eyes.